Boring.
Hey guys, welcome to another top 10 list. Here's my top 10 list for the most boring movies in my opinion. Yes, this is going to be a very subjective list because boring is a subjective word because you might find something boring but others might not. But at the same time, you're only going to see bad movies on this list because mostly bad movies bore me, but especially if there's nothing redeeming in the film, that's boring to me. But sometimes if a movie was like so bad it's good, entertaining, or hilarious, then that doesn't bore me. Good movies do not bore me at all because even if a movie does have boring elements such as being too long, like say 3.5 hours, well, as long as it has good writing, good directing, good performances, and sometimes a good score or soundtrack, that does not bore me because I at least get engaged in that kind of thing. But these movies are all bad movies that always put me to sleep because they're just so boring and there's no care or effort put into any of these movies. So let's just get right into it. And before a top 10 list, here are my dishonorable mentions. So my dishonorable mentions are The Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild, all 5 for Twilight Saga movies, The Invasion 2007, Transformers The Last Night, 65, Rob Zombie's Halloween, and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. All really boring movies, just couldn't make my top 10 list in my opinion, but what did make my top 10 was my number 10, which is Psycho 1998. Wow. This remake is fucking terrible, and it's hands down one of the worst horror movie remakes ever, and I love the original 1960 version of Psycho. It's my favourite Alfred Hitchcock film. It's a classic, and it's a classic, it's amazingly well shot, it has a great story, it's very well structured, and it has one of the best scores ever. They remade it in the late 90s though, and it was agonizing to watch. I mean, I only sat for like the first hour with this movie, and that was enough for me, because it's a shot-for-shot remake that did nothing different. Vince Vaughn is nothing like Anthony Perkins when playing Norman Bates, and it's hands down one of the worst. Number 9 is the Emoji Movie. Yeah, this is an incredibly stupid movie, and it's also a terrible movie too. It's like considered one of the worst animated movies ever made, and it is, but it's also so boring to sit through, especially with the climax scene, and it's filled with dumb product placements such as Candy Crush and Facebook and YouTube and all these cool apps. So dumb, just so stupid. And it has some of the most annoying characters you could ever think of in a movie, especially the lead character Gene, who has all these emotions, but he has to be just meh. Who cares? And it's not just that; it has ugly animation. It ripped off other great animated films such as Wreck-It Ralph, the Lego Movie, and Inside Out. And overall, it's just an embarrassment. Coming number 8 though is Point Break 2015. Watched this a few months ago, and man, I could only get through the first 20 minutes because I couldn't even finish it. The original 1991 Point Break is a fun and cheesy action movie about bank robbing, and has some good performances from both Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. That should be some fun stuff, right? But this remake, however, was just one of the most boringest things ever. It's so lifeless to look at, it's so lifeless to look at with the whole cinematography and production of this movie. It misses the point of what the original is. Instead of being a bank robbing movie, it just focuses on trying to be like a sports movie. It's just them surfing, skydiving, and dirt biking. There's not any actual high sand. It's just boring. Then speaking of boring, coming number 7, The Legend of Hercules. Really bad film, and no, it is not hilariously bad. It's just plain bad and really dull and lifeless. Again, the cinematography and production design is so ugly to look at. The editing is sloppy, the action and performances are horrible, the sound is crap, the score is really bad, and it felt like a low-budget student project, and yeah, I fucking hate this movie. Coming in number 6 is The Mummy 3 Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. Now, I didn't know if I wanted to put this on this list because I'm a huge fan of the Mummy 1999 film. Definitely one of my favourite Brendan Fraser movies, and I even have a soft spot for The Mummy Returns. This third movie in the franchise, however, in this trilogy, however, is just stupid, and it makes little to no sense. Like, why is it set in China instead of Egypt? That's really out of place, and recasting Evelyn Carnahan was a bad idea, and it was just really dull to sit through. And speaking of The Mummy, number 5 is The Mummy 2017 reboot. Tomb of the Dragon Emperor was really bad, but my god, is this one worse. And as it's so goddamn boring. Ugh. I mean, all it's trying to do is set up a dark universe instead of being its own movie, and it wasted good actors. Like, you had wasted Tom Cruise, who I'm a huge fan, but he's terrible in this movie. They wasted Russell Crowe, Jake Johnson, and what's her name, Sofia Boutella. They were all god awful in this movie. And even when it takes itself seriously, it's so ridiculously stupid. And I absolutely hate this movie because, like with all the other movies on this set, there's no effort put into them, and The Mummy 2017 is another example of that. Number 4, Speed 2 Cruise Control. Similar to Point Break 2015, which I couldn't even finish after like 15 minutes. I watched like the first 30 minutes of this terrible sequel, and again, I couldn't finish it. I really enjoyed the first Speed film. It's a great movie. This one, however, is inferior to it, with bad action scenes, awful cinematography, some of the worst editing ever, and what makes it more dumb is it's set on a boat, right? Stupid. Anyways, number 3 now is These Mums. Really stupid movie. I mean, there are motion captured animated films I personally enjoy, such as The Polar Express, The Adventures of Tintin, and A Christmas Carol in 2009, and Monster House as well. And I haven't seen Beowulf yet, but this one, Mars Needs Mums, is the worst of the motion capture animated films, with a shitty and lifeless story, unfunny jokes, ugly animation, and yeah, it's absolute garbage, and I can't imagine kids or adults liking it, so yeah. Anyways, come to my top 2 now. Number 2 is Morbius. It's Morbin time. Fuck this movie. I mean, this and like my number 1 are like my least favourite superhero movies, and my god, this movie was boring and generic. Jared Leto, I don't hate him as an actor, but he gives an awful performance as the titular character Morbius. The shaky cam is like, gave me a headache when I watched this movie. The lighting was bad, the visual effects felt like effects from like a 2003 movie, and there's just nothing good about it, so let's just get to my number 1. And the number 1 most boring movie ever, in my opinion, is, remember, my opinion, Fantastic 2015. You all know this is my least favourite movie of all time, and I might do a whole video explaining why it's my number 1 least favourite movie ever, but I don't know if I want to do that because I only saw this movie once in theaters. I've never watched it again. I'm never gonna watch it again, ever again, because I'm hoping that the upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe film of Fantastic Four is good and better than this. But still, though, fucking hate this movie. And because its cinematography and production design is so dark and grim, what was I going to say? Yeah, it's very dark and grim, and it looks like a $1 million independent film, but nope, it's a $120 million budget film. That's what made it so disgusting to look at. Dr. Doom somehow looks like a Power Rangers villain, and everyone else, such as Miles Teller, Kate Mara, Michael B. Jordan, and Jamie Bell, they're all great actors, but they are wasted in this movie. And yeah, that's why it's easily the most boring movie I've ever sat through. So yeah, those are the top 10 most boring movies in my opinion. So what are the most boring movies you've ever sat through? Tell me down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and may the force be with you.